that report 322 times. And yet, since that 9/11 Commission report, different policies have come into effect. And as a matter of systematic policy, those terms are no longer allowed to be used in this administration. The FBI counterterrorism lexicon uses the word jihad 0 times. The National Intelligence Strategy of 2009 uses the word jihad 0 times. The Strategic Implementation Plan to Prevent Violent Extremism of 2011 uses the word 0 times. The National Intelligence Strategy in 2014 uses the word 0 times. We also heard testimony from a former employee of the Department of Homeland Security, Phil Haney, that in October 2009, more than 800 Customs and Border Patrol documents were ordered modified, scrubbed, or deleted to remove references to jihad or the Muslim Brotherhood or other similar references. Was Mr. Haney's testimony that the Department of Homeland Security ordered over 800 documents in CBB altered or deleted, was that testimony accurate?
I have no idea. I don't know who Mr. Haney is. I wouldn't know him if he walked in the room.
So you have not investigated whether your department ordered documents to be modified in 2009 to remove references to jihad, radical Islamic terrorism, the Muslim Brotherhood. You have not investigated that question?
No, I have not taken the time to investigate what Mr. Haney says, no.
And when the United States Senate Judiciary Oversight Committee conducted a hearing on that, did you or anyone in your staff inquire into those issues?
No, but you have me right here, right now, to ask questions of. So
but apparently your answer is you don't know. I am asking you, in 2009 and again in 2012, Mr. Haney testified there were 2 purges, and that was the word he used, purge, at the Department of Homeland Security to remove references to radical Islamic terrorism. Is it accurate that the records were changed?
Same answer I gave you before. I have no idea, sir.
You have no knowledge of any records being changed at the Department of Homeland Security?
Same answer. I have no idea, sir.
Would it concern you if it was accurate?
Senator, I find this whole debate to be very interesting, but I have to tell you, when I was at the Department of Defense, giving the legal sign-off on a lot of drone strikes, I didn't particularly care whether the baseball card said Islamic extremist or violent extremist. I think this is very interesting, but it makes no difference to me in terms of who we need to go after, who is determined to attack our homeland. The other point I'd like to make, sir, is that, and I have to think in practical terms in Homeland Security, I think this is all very interesting, makes for good political debate, but in practical terms, if we, in our efforts here in the homeland, start giving the Islamic State the credence that they want to be referred to as part of Islam or some form of Islam, we will get nowhere in our efforts to build bridges with Muslim communities, which we need to do in this current environment right now that includes homegrown violent extremists. They all tell me. My
time is limited for this.
Hold on just a second, please. They all tell me that ISIL has hijacked my religion, and it's critical that we bring these people to our side to do this.
You're entitled to give speeches other times. My question was if you were aware that the information has been scrubbed. I would note the title of the hearing on Tuesday was Willful Blindness, and your testimony to this full committee now is that you have no idea and apparently have no intention of finding out whether DHS materials have been scrubbed. And you suggested just a moment ago that it's essentially a semantic difference. Well, I don't believe it is a semantic difference, that when you erase references to radical jihad, it impacts the behavior of law enforcement and national security to respond to red flags and prevent terrorist attacks before they occur. Let's take Nidal Hasan. Nidal Hasan, the Obama administration was aware he was communicating with Anwar al-Awlaki, a known radical Islamic terrorist. The Obama administration was aware that Nidal Hasan had inquired of Anwar al-Awlaki the permissibility of waging jihad against his fellow soldiers. And yet the administration did not act, and Nidal Hasan walked through Fort Hood in my home state of Texas, murdering 14 innocent souls, yelling Allahu Akbar. Do you think it was a mistake not to respond to those red flags ahead of time and prevent the terrorist attack at Fort Hood?
I disagree with your factual predicate. Those are not the facts.
What do you disagree?